Hey people, this is Space Station 13 review. AHELP clown griefs. Please ban he trademark while the channel ssethtzeentach. The singularities lose, the AI is malfunctioning, and the air is plasma. Good luck out there, spacemen. Yeah, okay. So this is a reaction, I guess. I did this is one of the first videos that I reacted to from ssethtzeentach a million years ago, I guess. So at the time I didn't know how brilliant this game was, or games like this was, before I reacted to many games like this, like Dwarf Fortress this, and yeah. So I decided to do reaction of some games from ssethtzeentach which are really good. So obviously I'm going to do Space Station 13. No, I'm not going to do all of them, right? So I'm not going to do all ssethtzeentach videos again, but just some like Space Station 13. I already did Dwarf Fortress, Can See. So yeah, let's watch this one. This is the famous video from ssethtzeentach. I don't remember much. I mean, obviously I know about Space Station 13 because I also did, I think, Mandalore or Martin Cytopen's, one of their video of Space Station 13 as well. And I kind of remember that, but I don't remember the whole video, and this is a 22-minute video. I guess I'm going to some new perspective now, so let's watch it.
Hey people, Seth here. Today, I'll be covering a very niche, very infamous, and very autistic game that everyone's asked me to cover since day one. A game where you and many other real, living people with questionable social intelligence roleplay together on the worst space station in the universe, where aliens, shapeshifters, and traitors working for rival corporations are the least of your concern, where the greatest threat to your own existence are your own crew members. Hungry? Come to the station canteen, where the food is definitely...
Yeah, okay, so basic thing of Space Station 13 is everybody has their job and they do their job. So you're gonna enter this game, you're gonna have your job, right? You're just gonna do that and just shit happens. It could be anything. And the best thing about Space Station 13 is that there are many ridiculous things that you think no way developers thought of putting this inside, right? And yeah, they did. And all of them are really ridiculous. Like, so ridiculous that you can't even think of that. Like, if you try to, like, okay, let's think of it as a parody way. Like, what's the worst thing I can do? It's gonna be even worse than that. That's the best thing about it. Like, it's always gonna be entertaining.
Poisoned, injured, head on down to medical, where half a medication has been relabeled as happy pills. Discouraged? You can try taking a painkiller instead. But it wasn't a painkiller, it was LSD. Having a bad trip? Don't worry, there's a security officer nearby to help, but he can't respond because he was murdered and replaced by a genetically modified monkey wearing his uniform. Hallucinating? Keep calm and focus on what's real. Unfortunately for you, the supermassive black hole expanding towards you is not a hallucination. It is, in fact, very real.
The emergency shuttle has been called.
Welcome to Space Station 13. Space Station 13 has a very simple premise. Everyone has a job. Your objective? Do your best to delay the station's inevitable destruction, either at the hands of antagonists or at the hands of your own incompetent crew. Normally, I give the final score for a game at the end of a video. Not this time. Space Station 13, 10 out of 10, amazing, spectacular. Don't play it. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, Space Station 13 is a fantastic game, but I genuinely don't recommend you play it. Why? Because the engine it's running on is probably older than you, because the interface is a convoluted...
Not true, I'm from the 17th century. But seriously, this game is from 2003. If I remember correctly, this game was made in 2003, sure, but over time it got changed a lot by the community or even the developers, and there was some, I guess, licensing issue there or something, right? I mean, everybody was creating their own version or something. It was very chaotic, but the point is, in the end version is this, which is brilliant.
Mess, and only usable because me and every other autistic chimpanzee who plays this game has committed the hotkeys to muscle memory because of the insane time investment and commitment required for you to learn a single role, and because, to be perfectly honest, the servers can't handle all of you. At best, we can handle like 30 extra players before you grind the servers to a halt. For all these reasons, Space Station 13 always was and always will be a niche title, and maybe that's for the best. But I can offer you something else. I've already killed your hopes and dreams of playing the game, so instead, let me share some stories of my wonderful experience with Space Station 13. These stories span several years and several different servers, the names of which will forever stay anonymous because I respect their privacy, and because I've received threats from some of the more colorful servers to not mention them by name, or else. What's gonna happen if I don't comply? Are they gonna hire a Bitcoin assassin to run me over with his mobility scooter? Is he gonna stab me with his insulin pen? I don't know, but between you and me, I hate having cum delivered to my mailbox and would prefer to keep it that way. Anyway, I remember the—
So let me get this straight. One guy threatened Seth, and Seth like, oh, I'm gonna comply. What is he gonna do? And just starts to roast him. Like, as soon as that guy said, don't mention me by name, he was done. Some damage was gonna occur, and it did.
The first time playing Space Station very vividly. My friends told me to download it and hop on some shitty server. It had furries and erotic roleplay. More on that later. I entered around as an assistant, my job to give assistance and to get my hands burnt off trying to hack into places I don't have access to. As I'm screwing around with airlock wires, my friend comes running down the hallway, dragging someone's unconscious body. Frantically, he tells me, "Seth, quick, can you open this door?" Sensing the urgency in his voice, I do. He throws the body inside and sprints away. The airlock closes. 3 seconds later, something explodes. What the fuck was that? I ask. Oh yeah, I fed him potassium and water pills. It takes a while to metabolize. My friend had just murdered a man in cold blood by turning his body into a living, ticking potassium bomb.
Not just that, he told Seth to open the door and just fucks off. Doesn't even tell Seth to run. He's like, hey Seth, can you open this door? Bye. And just...
As soon as the man's digestive juices cracked through the potassium tablet, it reacted violently with the water in his stomach and exploded, killing him from inside out. After such a horrific display of homicide, I realized, hey, this game's pretty good. Yeah. Fast forward a few weeks and I'm learning roles, calling shots, and ignoring every single—
Don't want to pause too much, but this is just, the game has so much detail. Like some guy basically thrown a body and it just exploded, he runs away. Random events like this can happen. Like, okay, what's happening? Is there an element like you can be a detective or something? Something happens, you try to investigate something. Oh god, that would be so good. The game is such simple way, made in such a simple way, such a simplistic, and yet things happen so randomly, it's so chaotic. It's just fun that way, right? You can create your own game in a way, right? You can try to investigate stuff. Why not? Who's gonna stop you?
Rule of a server. I also ignored every single rule of medicine. I was a surgeon, top of my class, destined to go where no licensed professional ever has. Also, my friend's girlfriend started playing with us. To put it bluntly, she wasn't very good, but she was very interested in progressing the medical field in any way possible. Cargo had just delivered us some complimentary pizza, as thanks for patching up their boys after they got a little too intimate with the xenomorphs on mining station. Brilliance flashed before my eyes. My pupils widened. I started physically sweating because she said the words I've always dreamt of hearing. Please turn me into a pizza. And so I got to work. Nurse, get me my scalpel, tweezers, protractor, bone gel, and the rest of the unfinished pizza. One horrified clown watched in the operating theater as I cleanly hacked off.
Are you sure he's horrified? Maybe there is no expression on his face. He's just watching that straight face like nothing. This is nothing for him. He's seen and done worse thing than that.
And cauterized her hands and feet. I opened the pizza box and began attaching her new cheesy limbs. Help! Sec to surgery, the clown blurted out. He's turning her into a Papa John's. The head of medical stormed in with a host of security officers to detain me, but they were too late. Her hands and feet had already been replaced. Surprisingly, she could walk just fine on a pair of pizza feet, but her lack of opposable pizza thumbs meant that she couldn't really hold anything, let alone pick them up in the first place. However, her pizza hands did make for a convenient and portable source of nutrition. Despite her numerous protests that she consented to the surgery, the head of medical demoted me on the spot and banned me from ever practicing medicine, claiming that you can't consent to be—
Alright, so first of all these people are real people, right? This is on a server multiplayer. So all these people, so the clown is real too. So some guy saw that like, well, everybody's playing the role. This is so good. It's like one of those, I don't know what those mock towns, right? They pretend to live in some kind of an old technology town or something, pre-World War America or whatever that is, right? Well, they pretend they don't even know. Sometimes they don't even know what mobile is or whatever, until certain times, right? There's a whole pretend, like everybody has their job. They all pretend to be something, and they always, make sure they, never break. This will kind of similar to that. If there is a cop, he's gonna be like cop, right? And he obviously everybody's real. So some shit happens, cop just runs and just nobody's like, okay, this is just funny shit ever. All right, you'll be fine. No, I'm a cop. I'm gonna ban you. This is so good. Everybody has their job.
Being a pizza, I was thrown in jail for the rest of a round. Clearly, there was no appreciation for the arts on this station. So, many rounds later, me and my friends found a new purpose, cleaning up the server, one erotic, furry roleplay at a time. Using telecommunications and meta-communications, I expertly pinpointed areas of high homosexual intent, namely, the dorm rooms and the showers. As two Khajiit-looking catmen meet privately with one another, they will, inevitably, start writing words such as, "Ooh, Mayak has a barbed prickly surprise for you, my friend." And,
what is this, Skyrim?
Yes, not me with your thick Tajiran trunk. This is completely unacceptable. Once an act of high homosexual intent is in motion, several of our men would mobilize. As they groan, moan, and spit out hairballs on each other, a security officer would barge in, flashbang the feline fornicators, and tag team baton them into submission before another officer handcuffs them to the bed. On the other side of a contaminated dorm room, our team's atmospheric technician sets explosive C4 charges against the station glass. Quickly, we evacuate the biohazard exclusion zone and seal the airlocks. Romeo and Juliet barely have enough time to recover from the flashbang before the charges detonate, depressurizing the room and sucking their bodies out into the black vacuum of space. Another job well done.
You know what? I don't have a doubt in my mind that if there are certain people who plays this game continuously for hours and hours and days without even stopping. Seth is one of them. If you come back after a few days, Seth has probably created a Nazi empire, right? With swastikas and everything. I bet Seth would do that. Because it's ridiculous. Okay, I'm gonna put this is unacceptable. And just blow the shit away. What the fuck?
Done. Many explosive decompressions later, erotic roleplay was considered a real occupational hazard. The Tajiran Catboys got creative, started doing group sessions instead, but these were quickly crushed by my friend playing the best roboticist I've ever seen in my life. The airlock doors to their sodomy chamber were welded shut to prevent interruptions, so he drilled right through them with a gigantic combat mech. The air inside was heavy with a sickly sweet smell of wet furballs and toxoplasmosis. The furries didn't even have time to react before he started unloading shell after shell of flashbang grenades, and thus we all got banned. We paid the price. But to see half a server get flashbanged unconscious for 10 minutes straight, priceless. The server didn't last long anyway. The admin's mom shut it down as soon as she saw the electricity bill, so me and my friends went on to enrich other servers. I even got good at being a chemist. In other words, I always stole the syringe gun at the start of a round and filled it with lethal doses of chloral hydrate. For my own protection, of course. I also gave whatever chemical anyone requested, which gives me some moral ambiguity and 2 degrees of separation from any pranks or murders that took place as a result of said chemicals. If a clown asks for space lube, he's gonna get space lube. One time, a clown managed to lube the entire hallway outside of medical, all the way to departures. Now, departures is usually the place where the escape shuttle docks to get us out of our quickly burning heap of a station. However, if there's no call for a shuttle, departures is completely empty, besides the airlock, which the clown had hacked open. Several people came running through medical, slipped on the space lube, and accelerated themselves face first into the infinite vacuum of space. Security figured out it was the clown, and
Alright, it would be so awesome if as they, go out from the lock into the space, they, in the chat, they, scream and curse, you mother... The creativity in this game, man. What the best thing about this is the game that is now, after all these years of, development, people have added features after features that it's just, it's just tools, right? Now you can do any creative shit with it. Okay, loop the floor and open the, door. They're going to slide out. This is so good.
in true security fashion, also slipped on the space loop. With most of the crew floating around dead in space, the station had to be evacuated. He was later banned from playing clown ever again. Several rounds later, I finally spawned as a traitor.
Mission specifications decrypted. Welcome to the center.
Okay. Objective was assassinate Nikolai Zaglov, the chief medical officer, steal a piece of corgi meat, escape on Saturn, escape pod alive free. You are now a traitor. Oh, I love this. Look at the different jobs. It's so good. If I remember correctly, there are vampires too in this game, right? And oh, this is...
And I had no idea what I was doing, but I wanted my first time to be special. Conveniently, an assistant comes in, bleeding all over, because he was probably trying to break into the armory without insulated gloves. His character sprite had maximum melanin and an afro. His roleplay friendly name was Madick, an idiot, but a useful idiot. There were no medical staff on hand except me, so I said, hey, I know a little bit of surgery, let me fix you up. I put him under general anesthetic and took out my syndicate PDA. With this, I can discreetly teleport a few traitor items into my inventory to help me achieve my objective, which in this case was murdering the head of security. I ordered 2 sets of...
Alright. Hold up there. So, can anybody do surgeries or something if they go to there, or certain people with jobs have the option to do something? Is certain options locked? I mean, I'm pretty sure janitor cannot just fucking walk in and do the surgeries, right? But does anybody has option? As soon as they're in this room and somebody's on the table, they have option to do that. Is that it? This is just fucking...
voice-activated explosives, which trigger upon hearing the recorded code phrase. I set this to the word most likely to be spoken by this mentally retarded human being. Can you guess what that is? I surgically opened his ass and inserted the first of the explosives. Then I lodged the second one neatly inside his chest cavity. Closing them up, I took off the anesthetic and began to put my plan in action. I would arm this simple-minded moron with illegal weaponry, with the hopes that security would detain him on possession charges. I gave him all the LSD, all the chloral hydrate syringes, and an entire spray bottle of space lube. I had expertly equipped him to be the ultimate griefing machine. Proud of my work, I gave him a hug and set him loose on the world. But just before he left medical, he turned around and said, "Thanks, nigger." And we both exploded. My other times playing antagonist went about...
Seth is like one of those characters. Was it in cartoon? I don't remember that. He's just brilliant. Brilliant scientist, brilliant plotting and everything. But with just one mistake, right? One thing that, you know, they don't foresee. Like, what if he does this to me, right? First of all, this game has a feature like you can plant bombs and can explode on a certain keywords. Like, what the fuck? Who thought of that? Who thought to put that in the game, right? That is just brilliant. And after that, Seth just created a whole this elaborate plan. Didn't even thought like, what if he says that to me before he leaves? This is so good.
Just as well. Once I started as the leader of a cult, our objective was to seize control of the station and sacrifice our mortal bodies to summon a physical manifestation of our dark god. However, I wasn't very good at it, and neither were my servants. We found a nice, quiet, and most importantly, abandoned bar near the north end of the station, which we began redecorating with our own blood. You see, cultists need to learn a set of ancient words that's randomly generated every round. If you arrange them in the right order, you can perform different spells and rituals to advance your goals.
Wait a minute, what? Did I miss something?
My servants. We found a nice, quiet, and most importantly, abandoned bar near the north end of the station, which we began redecorating with our own blood. You see, cultists need to learn a set of ancient words that's randomly generated every round. If you arrange them in the right order, you can perform different spells and rituals to advance your goals. We didn't get far, because the most dangerous thing to an incompetent cult is a single crew member doing their job. The fucking janitor found us. We tried to negotiate, convince him that it's actually crayon and not blood all over the floor. But that didn't work, so we tried to murder him instead. That didn't work either. He used his mop to slip us with soapy water and ran off to call security. As you can see, I'm not very proficient at being a traitor. More often, ran off to call security. As you can
Shannon Butterfield. Wait a minute, this is also real guy, right? There are no NPCs in this game, right? This is also real guy, so that's just fucking awesome. Okay, I remember somebody making a comment in Mandalore's video, whatever, that worst thing to a cultist is a janitor doing his job. It was joke from this, obviously. This is just perfection. Seth and some followers creating this kind of cult blood symbols, and it's like, yes, we should put our plan in motion, and just janitor walks in like, yeah, what the fuck is happening here? What is this shit? I'm supposed to mob this? Did you do this shit? It's like, we have to kill him, just runs away. Goes to security like, these people are, not that they are cultists and, making symbols. No, these people are ruining floors. I'm not going to clean that shit.
can see, I'm not very proficient at being a traitor. More often, I find myself being abused by traitors. Some of the worst offenders in this regard are definitely wizards, since wizards have a bad tendency to sexually abuse me as well. Not too long ago, me and my friends played a round that was already in progress. As soon as we entered, we realized something was very wrong. An announcement played on the radio. Penis Inspection Day is in effect. All crew members must report to Doc Johnson for their mandatory penis inspection. What? Doc Johnson was, very clearly, a wizard. I knew what was coming, and yet I resigned myself to fate and went to medical reception. Doc Johnson was overjoyed to have new patients. He led me to a private room, asked me if I'm circumcised, and told me that I passed the inspection with flying colors. What a surprise, I thought. He's not actually gonna grief me. But I was wrong. As I turned away to leave, he blew off my ass, magically. Hey, it's wizardry. I turned away to leave, he blew off my ass, magically. Hey, it's wizardry. I ain't gotta explain shit. Anyway, Doc Johnson is a terrible doctor. He left me bleeding on the floor as he took my ass cheeks and used them as a hat. Highly unprofessional, would not recommend. A round of Space Station 13 can be very intense. At other times, it can be very slow-paced and almost relaxing. If you're not a traitor and you don't have anything urgent to handle, you can always just roleplay and get comfy in a bar, while the piano plays anime songs and the jukebox plays whatever deep-fried ASMR bullshit people keep putting on. It's a very wholesome experience, and it helps you get emotionally invested with the other members of your crew, which are often nice people. However, security is often staffed by egotistical megalomaniacs acting out their most depraved power fantasies. They are often not nice people, as a result of their inherent propensity to be
that's not that inaccurate from the real world. This is so good. Security is obviously anybody who's gonna play security is like, okay, I'm the authority, I'm the law. I can already imagine that Eric Cartman dialogue from South Park. I don't even know. Respect the authority. What was that? Respect my authority or whatever that was with sunglasses.
insane sociopaths, the rest of the crew will often rebel against their tyranny. In one such case, cargo had declared independence. Security refused to recognize the independent station state of Cargonia, so they tried to barge their way in and arrest everyone involved, including me. But security was unprepared for the trap we had in store. One officer rushed into cargo bay and slipped on a banana peel straight into the conveyor belt waiting for him. He tried repeatedly to get back up, only to be tripped again by an ocean of banana peels on the conveyor belt, which looped around in a circle. Surrounding that circle was another circle, composed entirely of vending machines. The officer was also being brutally assaulted by several hundred cans of soda. The vending machines were also being brutally assaulted by several hundred cans.
Robots on a star killing literally. What? Okay, his name is Hitler. Okay. Literally Hitler. His name is okay. Robo Sovereign launches star hits at lit. Okay.
cans of soda. The vending machines were hacked, and as a result, they would continuously fire drinks at whoever is in the area. Each officer that slipped into the banana belt got smashed unconscious by a relentless stream of Discount Dan soda. Trademark, all rights reserved. After extensive head trauma by our soda turrets, security reluctantly accepted Cargonia's independence and their right to bear arms. If there's one department that has more revolutions than Cargo,
Trust me, and the worst part, just give me 50 seconds of silence, is that he was filthy catbiz and said, oh, what big ball, what?
it would have to be science, and it's easy to understand why. We spend our lives researching away for the good of the station, which does of course carry—
Alright, so see, first of all, somebody should create a reskin or some kind of a mod for this space station so it feels like a Fallout's, you know, what the fuck is that? Fallout Vault, right? Because this kind of feels similar. You're trapped in a building type of area, space station, right? And in that, many different shit happens. There are revolts, like it's some kind of an empire or something. There are revolts, like what we see here. Many different shit happens. This feels very close to a Fallout Vault. If somebody's trapped in Fallout Vault, the whole colony is trapped inside that. This kind of feels very similar to this. And there is so many features in this game, so many different mechanics. And people can use their creativity to do things. Somebody should create some kind of a Fallout mod that they can pretend to be in Fallout Vault right after the bombs fell and play this game and do all this different ridiculous crap. That would be so good.
its own share of risks and hazards. Sometimes accidents happen. Sooner or later, some bored and mentally challenged assistant will try and put a bag of holding into another bag of holding, and security can't always comprehend that we're not directly responsible for the resulting black hole eating through the kitchen. This lack of appreciation for the scientific profession usually ends with arrest warrants for the whole department, which is usually answered back with the words, "I'd like to see you try." Arrest warrants for the whole department, which is
Okay, as the says, as the research director, it comes as my responsibility. Says, Babe Space 6 tastes good like a cigarette should. Hal Bedell says to take no responsibility for the singularity in the kitchen. Okay.
Usually answered back with the words, "I'd like to see you try." But when we're not having a nuclear arms race with security, R&D is actually quite a chill department. I also made a great discovery last time I played there. Me and another scientist were messing around with blueprints and eventually made ourselves a pneumatic cannon. Normally, these are used to launch whatever items you have inside. What we didn't know was that it could launch food as well. I loaded a lasagna, aimed for the mouth, and fired it at my fellow researcher. The lasagna disappeared. "What the hell? That's amazing," he said. "We just realized what happened. I had just managed to remotely force feed my fellow man. But what do we do with this forbidden knowledge?"
What? You got to be kidding me. Somebody who made the game, or maybe somebody who developed along the way, thought that what if somebody goes to an R&D department, creates this fucking cannon which can load anything. They'll load it with food and shoot it at somebody's mouth. What's gonna happen? Okay, they're gonna eat it. Let's add that feature in. Who thinks this? This game is ridiculously good. I mean, near 20 years of development over time, people just improved it, and this is the game. This is such a good game. I don't think there can be any other like this, right? I mean, I hope this game just, carry on forever. In far future, maybe somebody creates some mod to, I guess, make this look good. I don't know. You can mod an engine. This is how it's gonna look, but it's fine. Even in 2050, you can play this game. It's gonna be fine. Doesn't matter what the graphics is today.
Nothing good, that's for sure. My comrade got to work asking chemistry for hallucinogenic drugs. They said no. So we built our own chemistry dispensers, filled up the beakers with happy juice, and ran straight to the kitchen. We injected all the donuts and hot pockets we could find with as much LSD and mindbreaker toxin as they could hold. Then we loaded them into our food delivery system and started firing off at everyone in the hallways. The food was instantly delivered. The crew was instantly satisfied. Several people people, including security officers, managed to see the two small lines of text indicating that they've just been fed something. They thought it was extremely clever and said they didn't know the pneumatic cannon could do that. Since it was just a bit of harmless fun, we got off scot-free. Minutes later, the hallucination started. Crew members started screaming on the radio. Some were puking, shaking, or convulsing on the ground. Medical couldn't keep up with the bodies. They piled on too quick, and most of the doctors were too busy fighting off non-existent entities to do anything about it. The chemist, who originally refused to give us LSD, was arrested by security on suspicion of intentional food poisoning.
No
it was
way.
complete pandemonium, and I think it illustrates...
Oh man, it's like chemist is the only person who could have done this shit, right? So they went to the chemist like, help us out. He's like, no, and then they did this shit, and he's like, what the fuck? I said no, and I still got in trouble.
perfectly the chaos that is Space Station 13. That's all I have for you today, folks. There is, of course, more stories to tell, but we'd literally be here for hours. Space Station 13, a marvelous, unique, and incredibly
Oh God, please, somebody tell Seth, that make more Space Station 13 videos. I get it, this was a review's done, but I'm not talking about review, just play Space Station 13 with whatever ridiculous shit you can do. I guess review 2.0 or something. Because there are way too many things and seeing different versions would be just awesome.
Shitty game. 10 out of 10, don't play it. Because if you do, they're gonna blame it on me. And I hate having cum in my mailbox.
This is the most famous video from Seth. 6 million views in what, 2 years now? Right? About 2 years. It's gonna be 2 years in a month, right? 6 million views. I think people know about Space Station 13, people like me.
As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. On other news, I started a Subscribestar account, so if you'd like to invest and don't want to give your money to Patreon, now you can. A warm thanks to the many members.
Alright, that's the Merchant's Guild right there. Oh man, this is so good, man. Seriously, any video I watch of Space Station 13 is just fun. Is there any more videos like this, like Seth, like Martin Mandalore or something like that, some other channel who play Space Station 13 and create content like that, which is just fun? Because anything you watch from Space Station 13 is just fucking ridiculous. All the things people do, just doing their job. Janitor walking in, they're doing some kind of satanic ritual. Janitor like, what the fuck is this? I'm a very visual person. When I hear something or see something like this, I just create an image in my head. So this is a top view, just some pixels walking around. But as soon as I saw that, the janitor walking in scene, I could just imagine a movie type scenario, right? That they are just, some sinister music plays. They're doing this kind of a ritual thing, just, blood circles down there. And janitor just walks in and just, the disc scratching music plays. Like, well, what the fuck is this? Alright people, that was Space Station 13 review. AHELP Clown Grief, please ban he. Trademark by the channel ssethtzeentach. If you liked my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe so I know which type of videos to react to more. Comment down if you want to react to any specific video, especially if you know any good Space Station 13 video, definitely comment down. And yeah, I'll see you next time.